now?
No, we're just gonna stick with this.
Yeah, we're gonna stick with this now that we got it working.
All right, cool. I was just ready to send you the invite.
Dude, look at RGT now having problems too. This is crazy.
RGT ain't a problem, does he? Oh,
yeah, my
Guess we'll
camera
fix the
was
camera.
froze. It looked like I was.
no.
I had a few drinks. All right,
There you go. Okay.
All right.
Let's try this again. Welcome to the RGT podcast. We have two special guests. You know, we're not cutting that out. We're going to have this in there. That's how it should be. Fun. We're not cutting it
live.
So we're joined by a returning RGT 85. Good to have you back, brother. And, of course, let me repeat what I said. I got to put more emphasis on this one now because, you know, she can hear me. I'm here with a legend in this industry, man. Let me tell you, man. Been a fan of hers since she joined the WWE and seeing her win the women's title back in WrestleMania 22. Still one of the greatest moments of all time against Schroeders. She is a 10-time women's champion, a former knockout champion, even though I have her as knockout champion in the thumbnail. But guess what? She still is to us. That's how it is. That was a fluke. That's all I'm going to say right now. That was a fluke. But
You're upset. No, I could hear you before. It was doing this weird echo thing, but for whatever reason, you guys couldn't hear me. No, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. It's good to have you. Guys, man.
See,
I'm
going to have to say one thing, though. You said WWE. I could go back to TNA when she was Alexis Lurie. Just breaking in with those. Hey, I've been watching for a minute.
This. Oh, don't you worry. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get to all this. Mickie, first of all, again, thank you so much for joining us. She also has a podcast with Victoria. I think it's called Grown Ass Woman. That's what it is. That's the name of it.
Yep, Raw TV with Victoria and SoCal Val, Victoria Tara and Impact. Yes.
There you go. Yeah, so. Two legends together. You guys want another podcast? Definitely tune in to there. Get some awesome insight into the industry. And that's what we're about to do right now. Mickie, please, tell the world, tell us all, what got you into professional wrestling? This I need to hear because I don't think we've ever heard your story.
I was a wrestling fan. I watched it with my dad, and that was our thing with my sisters, and it was like a real bonding thing. But I've always loved wrestling, even through the ebbs and flows, and I fell back really in love with it through the Attitude Era, and I was out of high school and really didn't have a lot of direction. Was like, what am I going to do with my life? And my buddy suggested a wrestling school, and now here we are. Yeah, I loved it. I walked in, I said, oh, this is for me, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, that's the wild part. I've went by one over here in Georgia. It's called WWA 4, World Wrestling Alliance. Very expensive to get into it in general.
It was.
Yeah, it's very expensive. But
when my school that I started at was like an hour and a half from my house. It was up in like Manassas area. Yeah. It was actually a jiu-jitsu and boxing gym. So it wasn't even a wrestling ring that I learned how to wrestle in for the first, like, I don't know. That's where there was a wrestling ring to actually go to the shows. And that's when I really understood.
Lit up when you saw a wrestling ring.
Yeah. Yeah,
as I saw the main setup for it. Frank Roderick, I think is his name. Frank Roderick. He runs the operation, so that's cool.
Right on.
How did you get spotted by WWE?
Well, I wouldn't leave them alone. Like I would drive 20 hours for a tryout match. And at that time, women didn't really get a lot of tryout matches because they didn't really need a lot of women enhancement talent for things. Mm-hmm. Occasionally you would do like the thing. I think Victoria was one of the hoes. There was like little spots here and there that you could do, but I kept hustling, and I would send Dr. Tom my tapes every 2 weeks. He was probably like really regretful the day he gave me his email, because I wouldn't leave him alone. And the only times that I probably didn't message him every 2 weeks to say, hey, would you look at my tape, or if you have any advice, or where are you guys going to be, and if I was in the area doing independence or whatever the weekend, I would stay extra so I can go to Raw on Monday, or, to the tapings on Tuesday or whatever it was. Yeah. And the only times that I didn't message them every 2 weeks was when I was under contract with TNA, because TNA were doing monthly contracts at that time, and then they went to a 3-month contract, and then they were getting ready right before I got signed. They were just starting to get to a place where they could sign people to yearly contracts. So I was really in that kind of, when I got signed, I just remember being at this kind of like crossroads of like, do I sign with TNA for a year? Do I go to Japan for a couple months? Or WWE wasn't really on the table, and I was like really trying to get, that to go there, because that was the dream, and everything just kind of aligned.
Oh,
and they
wow.
called me August, right before my birthday. It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And obviously we know the journey. You had your iconic feud eventually with Trish Stratus, and then that led to you becoming or winning your first ever women's title. And I gotta ask you, how do you feel about women's representation in wrestling now compared to then? Now women are getting their own special, like Hell in the Cell matches, elimination chambers. We're now seeing women go through tables. I mean, this is crazy. Beforehand, it wasn't really that insane in terms of bumps the ladies were taking. Now, so how do you feel about the revolution?
I think the expectations have been raised in both on all platforms. And you were seeing some of that stuff, but you weren't seeing it to this level. Like if you saw it, it was at like an ECW, or it was like a Ring of Honor or something kind of different than WWE, like obviously programmed. But then you go, well, there were women getting put through tables, and Trish and Lita main evented the show, and they had hardcore matches. And I feel like if nothing else, now more than ever, women are being celebrated for those accomplishments, and they're getting those opportunities a lot more than they ever were. And that is a testament to how much female talent there is now training to even be in the business than there was before, and the reason why there are so many women training now ever than before are because of the Jazzes and the Jacquelines and the Trishes and the Ivories and the Litas. So it's taking all this to get there, because when I first broke into the business, not very many women were even training to be wrestlers. So the competition is much thicker than it's ever been, and the talent, women are actually getting into the business to be wrestlers and not just a valet or a manager. So now
it was models, modeling.
Yeah, everything is elevated, and it's going to continue to, because now little girls, those same girls, or we go back like, oh, the diva era, it was what it was or whatever, but there's an immense amount of little girls who loved that diva era that really captured them, who are training and think that that's a possibility for them because of that whole thing, because it connected with them on that level the same way that like the Barbies and the Brats and all those things, they really targeted that younger audience that is now, those are the people those are the girls that are wrestling now. Those are the Sashas and the Dakota Kais and all those people, so that's the evolution. It's a real word, it really has taken a lot to get here, and I think it's a lot of people.
Yeah, when I saw you in the WWE, obviously, when you become the women's champion, I felt like, especially when we compare it to the TNA at the time before it was Impact, we'll say Impact for last, but not back when it was TNA, and I saw the jump from there to there. Your move arsenal, everything, you were just more, it would be grounded, I guess you can say, in what you wanted to do. How would you describe the process behind WWE, like how they manage the talent in general, basically in terms of like what you're able to do on television? Where I'm getting this versus.
I think for everyone it's different. I think that you all have to prove yourself, and to prove yourself to be trusted with a mic. Like, I don't know that anyone's just going out there with a live microphone anymore, unless you are The Rock or Stone Cold or someone to that just goes out there and just says whatever they want. I certainly think it is much more. It's not as much freedom in the sense of you just can't go up there and shoot off the cuff, right? Like anymore.
Right. They give you
there's a lot of other things that play, but creatively, I mean, obviously, when I was at TNA the first time, I'll just say for me, when I was at TNA the first time, I'm in angles with Jeff Jarrett, and I'm having the first ever female to be in a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, actually all the way up until I think Daphne. But finally, like 10 years later, was the second woman to go in it. And I think, so, you know, and it was just, I was doing crazy stuff then, but I was also aligned with some really cool people. I was with Raven, who I was getting, you know, learning so much from. And even before that, to be like, I got to learn underneath a lot of good people, and all good people that I got to learn underneath were men, because that's who we're training now. You know what I mean? And so I'm hella grateful for that. But I look, and then when I first went to WWE, when I went to developmental, like I still was so, and at that point I'd say I was wrestling like what, I don't know, 5 years, but I would still consider myself to be very green, because I understood how to do the moves. I understood how to put matches together. I understood I just didn't understand really on a real level of like the in-betweens and the whys of like how to take it to that next level. And so even though a lot of people go like, well, you were already on TV and you're going backwards going to developmental, but I really felt like I fine-tuned and sharpened all my tools in my toolbox. By the time I debuted, I was over-prepared. Yeah, it was a whole nother level. So it really stepped up my game. And obviously there's always things, because you think creatively, but I think that first character, a lot of that was me. You know, I had the freedom to do a lot with that character. And I think that was that art of having that freedom and the faith in you as a character, but also the people like working with Trish, and to be able to create those moments, and with the writers, all the things to where it all built. That's how we were able to get so much longevity out of it. And it wasn't like just hot shot it and 3 months, 2 months later, here we are. Like, if anything, I think the biggest difference is that, you know, a lot of bookers or promoters or writers can't see long term, because we're so used to trying to keep up with the week to week.
Right. In the now type of thing.
Now. So storylines aren't given enough time for people to really dive in emotionally, to attach themselves to it, to get to that WrestleMania point. We had like 6 months, 8 months to get there by the time it finally reached that moment, you know? So
yeah, they don't keep it in the oven too long. They really don't.
Right. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with, I think if you're not long-term booking, you're not booking. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have to look at the end goal and what that wants, and then you get there. Like, that's just my, and that's an old school thing, but I still feel like it's relevant today, because you have to take the time. People don't fall in love overnight. You can't make them feel.
You can't force a character on nobody.
You can't. Well, and you can't force an emotion overnight, or, you know, it takes investment, and you have to be invested in that person, in that character or whatever. And so you got to kind of take them with you on that journey. Be like that, you know. That's just like that
with the Roman Reigns thing. Remember how Roman was getting a lot of crazy heat on TV at the time when he was a face, and now he's the heel. He's embraced it in a new way. So
and exorbitant amount of I never really understood. You know what it is I always feel like, then this is a new culture of fans, like, because I was like, I didn't really understand the hate on him, because in my opinion he was very talented, right?
Yeah, good.
And I was like, I don't really, but it was because he was what the fans deemed as the company guy, and they always want to go.
Right. You never want to have him immediately say he's the company guy. No, you have to let it naturally happen. Yeah.
This dude's a star. Like, this guy's gonna be a star. It's like it almost like made him mad to have to recognize that. So then it was the alter.
Yeah, but you know how fans are. The fans don't want you to tell us when it's time. Like, we'll tell you when it's time. Like, you don't. You know, that's just how fans are. Like, they were force feeding him.
Well, that's what they think anyway.
What we're supposed to like, you know.
Right.
Let us like what we want to like, and then you know, base it on that.
Now look at these old clown guys. The tribal chief.
There's validity in that, because you look at like. I've seen on television like a heel or like a bad guy or whatever, and you can see that the fans are genuinely starting to get, or even babyface, there'll be this where the fans are genuinely starting to get behind this thing or this whatever, and then because it's getting over, everybody starts tinkering with it, right? Like everybody. Right. And then it almost gets like, then it becomes crazy, and people are like, oh, well, this isn't why I liked it, or it's too much. You know, that's too much. Too much.
That's crazy. You said it was more of you in the crazy fangirl. I guess that's what it was. The gimmick was a crazy fangirl, Mickie character.
Her in general, not the storyline, not the whole story.
Not
like
the whole
I
story,
wrote,
but a lot of that was you. And I'm like, I'm shocked by that because I know you're a singer, and I was like, I saw the hardcore country version of you. I was like, okay, that's Mickie James. That's Mickie James. That's the full character. But that's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't think in a million years that would be all like, good chunk of that would be you. The first
no, I think that it really resonated. I mean, there was a time too. It was like the single white female movie, and then there was a bunch of other stuff. And you have to remember, I'd been developmental at that point. What I thought was going to be 6 months turned into like 2 years at this point, and I've thrown 10,000 ideas at the writers and at the wall. And I debuted with CM Punk on television for Sunday Night Heat, and they pulled that, and I'd had like 4 or 5 false starts that just never happened. And as it does, and it's fine because I'm grateful for it now, because I wouldn't have wanted to write that story any different. However, I was like at a point where I go like, I literally just got to come up with something that's so different and unique and just like crazy and Vince read the idea as they were going through, because I didn't realize, but they actually do take these ideas to Vince and to creative meetings, or at least ones that they deem good enough, and read it to him, and he really, really liked it. And I had an opportunity to kind of see him in like a Cincinnati or something like that, Columbus, when they were close enough to Louisville. And I was like, Michael Hayes came to me, and I'll never forget it. And he's like, you need to go up to Vince and you need to tell him that you wrote that story, and you tell him that you wrote that character, and that you need to be that character. Because in his mind, they'll just find somebody else to play that character. Right. So you need to tell him that it was you and that you are that. And so I did, and I waited outside his office all night until what felt like, I don't know, it was probably like midnight by the time he came back to the office. And I was like, if I could have a moment. And I walked in, and I said exactly what Michael said to say in my own way. But like, so much, like I was so terrified. I'm sweating. My palms are wet. Like I'm just terrified. Because he's a presence. Like Is
that true though? People say that you meet Vince and you kind of like, it's an alien in front of you. It's like, you know what I mean?
That he is quite a presence, and it's not very many people, because I feel like, I don't know, it's not very many people that really like make you stand at attention almost when they walk into the room. Like there's very like that, almost like, because their presence is so big that it makes you want to fill up to kind of even share that same space with them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I was sweating bullets. I wasn't ready to share that same space with him, if you know what I mean. So I'm like, but I did. I said, Vince, I heard that you read my storyline, and I'm so happy that you liked it. I just want you to know that I wrote that character. I know that character through and through. I've studied that character. Like there's no one that can play her like me, and I promise you, this would be awesome. And
awesome,
yeah. And then I said it. Well, I will say though, I sat at home for like another 6 months with nothing. No, he was like, oh, what he said was, he's like, oh, you got balls, kid. And I was like, you got lady balls, I got big ones. And so,
oh no, he was sounding like Negan from The Walking Dead. He was sounding like,
I was like,
oh no,
what? I don't know what that is.
Oh, I think
I sat down in Louisville then again after that interaction for another 6 months, and I'm going like, what have I done? Like I've just completely put my foot in my mouth. And really screwed it up. But then we came back and we did it. And we did it with Trish, and it was awesome.
Oh, man. There you guys go. Oh, man. Nah, because personally, looking at your careers, especially, when it comes to matches, I remember your feud with, I think it was Awesome Kong. Did you have a feud with Awesome Kong?
Oh, I never wrestled Awesome Kong.
No. Was it Awesome Kong? Or was it... God, it was I know it was like a cage match. I forgot the person. Tara. That would be
Tara. Yeah.
Tara, that's why I messed up. And I was sitting looking back at that. I'm sitting going, well, Jesus Christ, there's so many spots you're doing here versus, back then you're being more of a risk taker here. And I was always wondering, like, how come we never got Mickie to really like, to do that, but you just answered it. You know, it all has to go through a.
Well, I think. I think some. I mean, I don't know. I'm very grateful for my WWE career, but I think that out of that whole, even with the angle with Trish, I don't think that the company expected the fans to gravitate towards me like they did. Like in reality, I was supposed to be the worst human on the planet because Trish is the most beloved woman in the roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that weird split really kind of shook them to kind of go like, wait, this is not what we anticipated at all. And it slowly started to make that babyface kind of change.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had done, I did the first ever Falls Count Anywhere match with Melina on television. And I was able to, the first time the women's championship had ever changed hands outside the United States with Beth. In London that night, and we made the cover of the thing, which is one of the first time. Like I had some really, really cool stuff that happened. But obviously, when I went back to Impact or TNA at the time, women were getting double sets. There was a tag team championship now that you could go after. The women were main event in the shows. I mean, that cage match was the main event of the show with Tara and I, and that. I felt like the knockouts were always getting. I mean, and it goes
time, basically
overlooked a lot. I think that the Impact Wrestling and TNA and with the Knockouts division especially, they were always ahead of the curve and doing great by their women, right? Like they were always getting all these opportunities and moments and things. And so it was cool because then I was able to go and create and redefine my whole character because I did feel like my character was a bit bubblegummy and girl next door, and it had changed from who I was, right? Like it never really was who I was because I had went from like this psycho stalker character, which was fun or whatever, and had morphed into some sort of human being that was lovable and wore bell bottoms and was bubbly and stuff, and loved all my stuff there. But yeah. On the tail end, I was in a weird position, right? Because I was doing the Piggy James stuff, and I think it was a lot of other stuff going on, and so I think that I needed a fresh start in everything, not just wrestling, just a reset. Right. And it was cool to be able to take my power back and to create this character and to have my music be my entrance music and go like, okay, I'm just going to be authentic to who I am now, and hopefully it'll get over. And if it doesn't, cool, because whatever.
It may go over.
Yeah.
Go,
yeah.
It may go over. See? We love Mickie. There you guys go. She answered your question, Tussle. I was great to ask her that. Does she have control over the character in TNA? But you just said you do pretty much.
Well, you never have complete control of anything, I don't think. I think that word control is. But I think what you do is you have your power in the sense of like you could.
I guess the appearance of the way you look, how you come out, gear.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have all control, but I'm saying, and like, everything is a balance, right? Like, and no matter where you go, I always say it's the same game of chess. It's just different players. It's different people in those positions of the king and the bishop.
Different pieces, so, right?
Yeah.
Don't try to change the board. It's the same. It don't matter where you go. It's the same. It's just different people playing. Right. So, and that's just the nature of the business, and I think that's in any business, especially entertainment, from music to acting to gaming. I don't know, to whatever. Like I don't know how it goes, but
okay. I'm actually curious to your answer to this. How do you feel about the current how the way the titles look, especially in WWE compared to now, especially the women's title? Because now it's like this big W on a white strap with like a blue background in it, compared to the women's title then, where they had just the all gold type strap. I'm looking.
I have an affinity for the original championship.
The original, okay.
I have it, but that's because that's the one that it was so nostalgic to me, and so I think. Plus, it's classic and it's pretty and it's still feminine,
prestigious,
but strong and like.
Right.
Yeah. It does all the things. Now it's so big and it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous, but they're a lot bigger.
They hit different. I'll say that.
They're very simple.
They're all bigger. They're all very big championships belts.
I mean, they look like the same mold, just with a different belt, strap on. I'm like,
all the belts were better back then. Big Cloud. All the belts.
Bring back the winged eagle.
The winged eagle
heavyweight.
I feel like we want them all to look like these like Megatron like kind of looking things at the moment. I don't know. It's feel like
Yeah,
Right.
I saw Impact's titles compared to.
them all.
Yeah, that's a good thing to go to because I'm looking at the Impact title that you had, and I was comparing that to the TNA title, and I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, the TNA title had more of a prestigious kind of like heavyweight, yeah, look.
Yeah.
Crap, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Impact one. I'm like, are y'all just doing like I guess a mix or your own version of Lucha Underground? Because Lucha Underground had like those crazy temple-esque looking titles.
Oh, right. I don't know. I'm not the belt designer.
It looked like. I was like,
I don't sign off on these. Yeah, I did consider putting some rhinestones on the Knockouts Championship while I had it. You know.
Yeah.
And then if I ever lost it, I would have sat there and plucked each one individually off. And just left the glue on the back.
I'm curious too about this too, with the titles, because I remember Jeff Hardy got a custom TNA title at the time, and I was wondering the process. What you mean? My God, I thought it was good.
That thing was hideous, bro.
It was.
But you know what I'm saying? It was different. But I wanted to ask you, the process behind that. I'm like, how come I don't see Mickie? With a custom belt, or that person with a custom belt.
Championship.
There you go. I'm just saying, you can make that work.
Belt buckle. It's just a massive belt buckle with a cowboy hat to the side like this.
There you go. I mean, Daniel Bryan had a belt made out of a tree.
Yeah,
Mickie James have one.
Well, I think most of the real custom belts, it's kind of been part of the gimmick too. Like Jeff's belt was because he was in. And he was in. I think it was Immortal at the time,
right?
And
John Cena's with the spinning belt,
the spinner belt, and then Van Dam got it and was making fun of it. But I actually have a question for you, Mickie. The NWA women's pay-per-view Empower. How did that come about, and what was it like putting that together? Because I bought that whole weekend shows because I was curious about it, and that was a damn good show. Like top to bottom, those matches were awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The women killed it. All the ladies killed it that night. Like it was so cool, and I'm so proud. That happened honestly because Billy, like, obviously Billy and my husband have worked with NWA, and my husband's worked there and he's been there. So I've seen a lot of this happen in the growth and the resurgence of the brand and this whole thing with the 10 pounds of gold and all of that. And some of that stuff has happened at my kitchen table while I was on the road with WWE, and
right.
Billy has been a good friend of mine since TNA days, since Alexis Lurie and the Nashville Fairgrounds. So I think just having conversations with him as where I was at WWE at the time, even prior to being released or whatever, of what I was doing, where I was at, what I was trying to think about. And a lot of the conversation has always been like, I really want to do something involving women's wrestling. I mean, like we did like a Young Classic, and we've done Evolution. And I'm really trying to see if there's a way to go and just do something that's more for the female brand, right? Like that's in that can help coach and help these girls. Right. And so, but when I got let go, and then we were just here at the house having breakfast or whatever, and they were going to go over what they were going to do, I think in Atlanta or whatever it was, the tapings before and stuff. And he's just like, why don't you just do it with me? Why don't you just do it for me? I mean, we can do it. We have the anniversary show coming up. And he's like, I know it's short notice, but I really think that if this is what you want to do, and this was kind of one of your little things. So he's like, the only other thing is that we can either try and we fail, or we try and it succeeds, and either way we'll do it together. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, so had he not put his faith in me and trust in me to say, I trust you to book this thing and to kind of make this thing happen, and let's see what we can do. And it just, otherwise I mean, I'm sure I would have done something in that aspect, but I don't know that it would have been as powerful as that show.
I think the fact that you had, people from AAA and AEW and, Impact all there for that show and working that show, I think that really made it stand out, because I mean, that hasn't been something that's happened like on that scale since like the old super shows when, you know, Vince McMahon Jr. took over the WWF and he was squashing the territories, and the territories tried to work together and do those big super shows. So I just thought, just from a historical standpoint, like it was awesome. And then the quality of the show was just so good too.
Thank you so much. I know that in hindsight, there's like, oh, because this is the first time I've ever done a show like that, and like promote all the things. Like I'm running around like crazy. So, and yeah, you're right. It is the first time, and I think I know Billy very well. I have family at Impact Wrestling, so I was obviously able to lean on them. And they've been so generous and were so kind to do all the stuff, like even leading up to the show, but on both ends. And I had never met Tony before. I actually didn't meet Tony until when I came back at Slammiversary. That was the first time I even met Tony, you know. So I'm grateful because him and Billy had already been working together with Thunder Rosa and doing other things, you know, so that they had already done stuff together before. So that I'm grateful they had a good relationship, and we were able to highlight, like, all come together for the same reason, and that's like to highlight the women's division and women's wrestling. So it was really cool, and I hope we can do it every single year because it was really nice, and it was a good night for wrestling, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We got Kong, like her retirement, which
that was awesome. That was so awesome.
Bawling my eyes out, and that was even a shock to me, and I don't know how, you know, but I was like, wait, she's retiring from wrestling completely? Like, what is happening right now? Yeah.
You know, I gotta ask this too. With AEW now being the new kid on the block, and many people call it the T-shirt company. Now it's changing the way a lot of companies look at wrestling now. How do you feel, you know, just looking at the competition side of things? Do you think change is bound in the industry with AEW now buying, or Tony Khan now buying Ring of Honor? AEW, you know, is branching out to more stars, and more people are making their way in here. How do you feel?
I feel like competition is always, healthy competition is always great. I think it makes everybody step up their game. I think on all levels, and if you are a performer, I think like knowing people get really comfortable when they know that there's nobody vying for their spot, right? But then it really kind of pushes people to their limits when they know that there's like a healthy competition. And I think now that AEW's gotten to a place where they look like they're a real competition now, that's a real cool thing. As far as buying Ring of Honor, like, yeah, I hope that they actually sign all the talent and they actually use them and maybe do something really cool with the brand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I for all I know, he could have bought it because half of his roster has a lot of history there, and there's a really amazing library there.
Oh yeah, for streaming service.
That he could use for all of that talent, and there's also a lot of WWE talent that also has that history there. So I feel like if anything, he probably saw that library was probably the most valuable thing for him as an asset. And his talent, you know what I mean? And I know that we have like because I don't know who's signed and who's not and who's going there and who's kind of free and ready to, so we'll see how it kind of falls all out of that. But there was a lot of history. I have history at Ring of Honor. So I'm a little bit sad because I'm like, I don't want to have to pay Tony for that footage, but I probably will. But at the same time, it's like, you know, so I hope that's something that, because a lot of people's careers who are stars now on all different platforms kind of got their start there. And it was, when you look back at it, like Ring of Honor kind of came out of that ECW kind of feel, like it was special and it was genuine, and it was this pocket of fans that was them. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how a lot of AEW's success has come, is because of that same kind of feeling of like, this is ours and this is special and this is kind of thing.
Could you possibly see like AEW using that as like their I guess their counter, so to speak, to NXT type of thing? Like that would be their
developmental.
Yeah, like that would be their developmental.
I hope not, because then I feel like I hope not, because I feel like it would downplay Ring of Honor. Like it would almost make it look less valuable.
If you do it properly, I would say not necessarily with all the way development. I'm like, obviously it would be live, you know, it'd be friends, you do the whole thing that you're getting, but you would kind of like treat that.
He can do whatever he wants. Yes. Because next thing you know, there's going to be something that's like, hey, Mickie says, put this.
Oh, yeah. Right about that.
I mean, I do care because I'm not saying that, but I'm just like, no.
Okay. I would hope for something similar to the original ECW revival that WWE
like
did. Even that, and like the first few kind of months of doing the shows until they just kind of fired all the ECW guys. Because I went to a house show in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Me and my buddy, we drove like 4 hours down there because I was living in North Carolina at the time. And it was when they had just started it up. Big Show was kind of the only kind of outsider guy for the ECW show, and like Punk had just started with the company. He was working with Shannon Moore, and that show was amazing. Sandman came out and poured beer all over me. They had a hardcore match against Mike Knox, and I really felt like ECW could have been like its own separate brand still under the umbrella, but of course it kind of ended up becoming that developmental system. And I'm hopeful that ROH just kind of stays a little bit independent as its own thing, but intermingles as well, you know?
Right.
If you don't have a spot for someone on AEW TV, okay, well, bring them to ROH.
They kind of said that. You'll see AEW stars there, ROH stars here, and
cross-pollinating.
They would do that.
Because that's where I think, I feel like you could make money doing that too, because you're bringing this brand that has a cult following. You're giving those fans what they want, but you're also expanding the brand to other people.
Yeah, but even when ECW was doing their own shows, like I felt like it was better than, you know, the main shows. And, but I feel like because Vince, it's not Vince's creation, so he's like, well, damn with that, you know, Monday Night Raw. You know, it's like, I don't know. I just felt like ECW was so awesome.
It was cool. There was some crazy stuff. There was some crazy stuff that happened there.
I'm actually curious, Mickie.
McGillicuddy's little sister. That's what when I went and did a tryout, and I took like 200 DDTs from my threat. And this must have been 2000, I think. And I didn't end up getting signed, but the idea was that I was going to be Beulah McGillicuddy's little sister.
That could have been very interesting.
Yeah.
Just because of how Paul would book stuff and Tommy, that could have been very interesting. I think
I was supposed to be not of legal age, and so I think that I was Beulah's sister that was not, like I was like 17, and so there was like a countdown clock to my birthday. I became legal or something, and then the boy, I don't know. It was
dude, that might seem taboo, but that's just normal. Like that's what I miss the edgy shit in wrestling.
Especially during that time frame too. Like the like you said, 2000. Like no one would bat an eye at that. Me and my lady friend were watching that movie Fear the other night with Mark Wahlberg. And it's a 16-year-old girl, and she's like, how old is he supposed to be? I was like, I don't know. I think he's like 17 or 18. The character's supposed to be 23, and she's 16. And like the parents are just like, whatever. He's just kind of crazy. That's why we don't like him. She's like, where are the cops? I was like, man, it was a different time, man. What can I say?
Yeah.
Facts.
Wow.
Oh, man. Hey, Mickie, would you ever consider going to AEW if the opportunity was there? Especially with
Sure. I have a lot of friends there. Yeah. Consider it.
I'm surprised I haven't seen you on AEW, and I see a lot of stars making their way. I expect Tony Storm to be there at some point. It's a lot of stars that we just like. Athena.
Oh, there's a lot of talent out there now that are available.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Because I remember they were cross working with Impact at the time. They stopped doing that, obviously, but I remember they were doing that, and I was like, maybe we could see crazy
they only really
match.
They only really did it on the men's side, though. They never went to the women's.
Did it on the women's side, but that could change. You just
the door's open. The door's open at this.
The world is changing. The doors are changing. Apparently, now they just keep revolving. We're changing all the doors to revolving doors.
Yeah,
I mean, you showing up in the Royal Rumble was.
I'm glad y'all brought that up. The forbidden door has been opened. You broke this. This broke the internet. The forbidden door. Mickie James showing up at the Royal Rumble, not only as obviously Mickie James, but in her TNA gimmick. Hardcore country plays on the PA. The crowd goes wild, and this is a big
How was
moment.
that pop? Huh?
Like I gotta hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you. No, it was so good. It was so, I can't even. I feel like the energy and stuff that surround that, it almost matches the first WrestleMania energy and moment. Like in that.
Wow.
How great of a feeling it was because for so many reasons. But it was fantastic, and I was really grateful to be able to do that. I think it.
If you go to a Royal Rumble crowd, they know exactly who you are. It's like, that must have been so gratifying for you to be like, not that like they don't remember you, but like, what I mean? Like, oh my God, like.
But they had never, the WWE audience had never seen or heard the hardcore country, even though I'd pitched it, and it was never seen on WWE TV. So there was that, and one of the kickbacks was like, I don't think the people are going to understand that or know who that is, and so it really kind of proved that wrong in the sense of actually
in your moment. I will say that when you had the title and just hearing the crowd go crazy, I was just like, wow, look at her. It happened. The moment happened.
I was in it. My knees were so high. I had my fingers were pointing. I was talking so much crap down the whole ramp. I was just talking crap the whole way. Out of love though. Nothing, only love. But yeah, it was just great. It was electric. It was one of those things. And I'm just so grateful that there was enough faith in me to trust me with all of these things, in the sense of like, I fought for all these things and I asked for these things. And I know that there was a lot of people saying never, it's not going to happen, whatever. And as many people that were excited, because as many people that want to see you rise, want to see you fall. Like, it just depends on how you look at things and your perspective. But I was so grateful because they reacted as soon as the music hit, before they even said my name. They reacted when they saw the belt down at the front. There was like layers of this reaction of it, like the people finally seeing it from the different. And then when I held the belt down at the bottom, and then they reacted again, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, all the yes, because it was like there was a lot, and a lot of people thought that it was not going to happen. Like there was no way in hell I was going to go out there.
Oh, well, you gonna come out to your original, the original gimmick? I guess that's what they thought.
And I wouldn't celebrate, and I never said, "Oh, I would only say I intend to do this thing," because I never like to celebrate. I've learned this the hard way by all those debuts that never happened. Like I don't want to celebrate until I'm in it, because then it's real, right? And then it's real, because I could have been standing there and they did play the other music, or I could have been standing there and they said, hey, you can't we changed your mind about the belt. You just never know. But everything stayed true as to what it was supposed to be, and I can't be more damn grateful because it was monumental. It was awesome.
How emotional were you when you saw Michelle McCool, you saw Kelly, Melina, good God, who else came back? Lita,
who eliminated me.
Yeah.
It was so good. No, it's always good to see, especially people that were so aligned with your, success. And I think there's a different type of thing of my first run versus my second run, because that was the first. They always say nothing is sweet as the first. Nothing is sweet as the first time winning the championship. And like that whole, I grew and learned so much and everything. And those girls were there with me, and we were in the trenches kind of together. Whereas this last time when I went back, I felt like I was in more of a mentorship role anyway, and I was in a different position in the locker room. So it was a different type of growth, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's cool to see those, because we've all come so far and we just have a different perspective of things now than we did then, so.
I got to ask this question. Who would be your dream opponent, and what stipulation would it be? Especially with all the talent out there now. Yeah.
Currently wrestling, because my dream opponent of all time would be Sensational Sherry.
Oh,
Now,
wow. Okay.
Yep.
And I would be fine with just a regular standard wrestling match against her because I know it would be insane anyway.
Yeah.
But we could make it something else if we have to get fancy, you know. But
Wow.
it's just my favorite ever. I guess currently, I don't know. This is always ever changing because I just go like I'd really like. There's a lot of people that I would really like to wrestle, even girls that I really didn't get a chance to do like one-on-one matches with that were there at WWE when I was there. And obviously Britt is at AEW. Serena, my dearest,
I'd like to see
is
that.
at
like that.
AEW.
I gotta see that.
Love her so much, and I'm so grateful. I'm so cool to see her doing everything that she's doing there. Yeah, I mean, and we still have in the Impact roster. There's Jordan Grace, who I haven't fought yet. Yeah, I mean, she hits kind of hard. I've watched, so we'll see. And then obviously there's Camille and NWA that I haven't faced yet. So I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
You know, I'm surprised I never saw you.
Your own boss. You can just.
I'm surprised I never saw you on New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, I see Kenny Omega become a megastar over there. What's his name?
Chris was there.
Will Ospreay.
They don't really have a lot of women, though, do they?
That's true.
It's more of the Joshi stuff.
Yeah.
It's more the Joshi stuff. Well, maybe we need to change that, New Japan.
There we go.
That's true.
Exclusive.
Yeah. I'll fight your men. What? But I'll fight. Oh, I guess maybe, but I'd rather.
I mean, we're getting a lot of intergender matches now. I mean, it's
I know.
possible, and
that's refreshing to see.
Yeah, I never thought we would see.
That's so refreshing to see.
Yeah, because back in the day, you would get disqualified if you so much as pushed the
one.
female.
The matches that Cardona and Jordan Grace have been having at Impact are great for the digital championship.
So.
Well, and I think it makes sense for somebody like a Jordan too, because she is a power lifter and she is a powerhouse, and you know, she is legit so strong. You know what I mean? But for her, like, I can see her character going toe to toe with a man and really being able to hold her own.
Yeah, she had her finisher on Brian Cage, so I believe her.
I'm invincible, so I would probably be fine. But the regular character, whatever, I just. You know, it has to make sense for me.
Okay.
And I just feel like there's so many talented women out there now. Like, I really want to fight them. So, you know, I'll let other people fight the boys. But I will fight a boy if I need to.
Oh, okay. MJF, what if he's listening?
I hear a lot of I hear a lot of wrestlers always say that it was easier for them to be a heel, and make it work. Like, you know, on a big level. I don't know. Is that true?
Of course, it's easier to make people hate you than it is to make them love you.
Real.
I guess, yeah.
Easy to make people by nature, not everyone. If you're you know what I mean, but people by nature automatically just don't want to like other people who are successful or who are all those things, especially when they can back it up and they legit are. They tell you they are, and then they go and do the thing. That really gets your goat, right? So it's easy to make people to hate you, but it's really, really hard to make people care about you on a television in that kind of capacity. It's really to genuinely love you and care enough to want to see you succeed. You know, it's not easy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Was you did you prefer being a heel or a baby face?
I
Or
feel
you
like
just kind of will at the moment.
I think it's a catch-22, right? So, because I really love, there's the art of being a babyface, that the certain bit of like, because it is, and it takes a lot, and the biggest part of being a babyface is the sell, and I love it. Like, I really think there's an art to that, and so I do enjoy being a babyface. But I also am a fight from underneath babyface, so that means I get my ass kicked a lot. I just feel like that's the type of sympathy I kind of lean to. But I also had the most fun as a heel. Like I felt like so much freedom because I could just be free to be this character, whereas as a babyface I'm more reserved or more. I can be a little more edgy now because I'm sassy, you know, because I'm 40.
Yeah.
But you know, younger babyface, it was very like white meat vanilla babyface, where it was kind of like it wasn't very edgy. It was not very. It wasn't until I became hardcore country that I feel like I found that edge. You know.
I'm saying, I was like, that's Mickie. That's her.
Yeah.
that's the whole thing, you know. So I loved about it. You know, I gotta ask, you know, who was your favorite? Like, what's your favorite match you've had in your career? I mean, you've had so many. I know there's got to be one that just resonates with you every time you you look back.
Well, I mean, there's been so many. I've had a lot of matches, and obviously, I guess my favorite television match will always be, or my favorite pay-per-view match will always be that match with Trish forever, because like you said, it's nothing as sweet as the first, right? But I think that you know, Falls Count Anywhere match with Melina on television, and being like, I think it was right in the crossover segment or whatever, but we were able to go fight in the back and do all of these things that the girls weren't really doing, and that was fun. My cage match with Lisa that you were talking about, the main event with her, but one of my favorite matches, I'll get to it. One of my favorite matches of all time was actually not a televised match. It was a non-televised match, and I've said this. Match? It was a house show in Fairbanks, Alaska. It was like -20 outside, but it was against Beth Phoenix, and this is prior to beating Beth Phoenix, and we were on all the house show loops together. So we went out there and had like a 15-20 minute match, and when we came back to the back, all the guys were standing with a standing ovation because of the match. Wow. That had never happened for me before, especially at WWE, and it was like Hunter and Ric Flair and Cena, and the entire locker room was there, all at the monitor and at the thing, going like, hell of a match, girls. Like, you guys just went out there and killed it. Because we put some time in, too, and, you know, and those matches with Beth were like my typical how I like to be babyface, but with her, it's like our chemistry, and I just got to know her so well, you know, and then it becomes like it's not like a night off, because I still feel like I got hit by a truck the next day, but it kind of is like a weird, you know, painful dance out there. Yeah.
All right. Okay. You know, I got to ask you about your legacy at this point. Like, how do you feel looking back from the beginning to where you are now? You know, you've broken barriers. You've broken barriers. You've won titles on multiple shows, multiple corporations.
I'm very grateful. You know, I'm so proud. And if you would have told 20-year-old me that you were going to do all these things, I probably would have laughed at you and said you were crazy. But here we are, because when I broke in, it was more about getting to the dance. And then I also was very aware, because that's what was told me, that once you got there, you have 5 years to make your money, and because then that's how long the average female career is. So do what you can, and then make sure you set yourself up for the next chapter. And I just never next chaptered it. So I did many chapters in this book, you know, but no, I'm super, super grateful. And I definitely attribute, you know, my success to everyone who's been in the ring with me, because you're only as good as the people that you dance with. That's for sure. And I've had some really amazing people to be able to share that journey with, and all of the things, you know, including not just in the ring, but real life stuff, you know, from town to town, to stuff that the people don't see, you know, because we are, at the end of the day, we are still just normal human beings that have families and friends and people that we love, going in and out of our lives back home while we're on the road 250 days out of the year.
What an insane schedule too. Like, dude, that schedule's brutal, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
taking the same bumps, and you gotta maintain the.
And you brought up your 20s, and you know, I wasn't gonna. I told RGT I wouldn't bring this up, but you've aged like a nice fine glass of wine. Like, you look the same. Like, you really do, though.
My vision has not, but everything. No, thank you. I appreciate it. For sure.
Oh, man. It's been a hell of a show. Retta, you wanted to ask your questions?
Yeah. I wanted to know, because I know you touched bases that you and your dad watched a lot of wrestling. What was that moment or wrestling match or wrestler that got you like, this is what I want to do for like the rest of my life?
Oh man. I don't think that I really knew that aside from when I was a kid, and I think that I said I wanted to be a lot of things when I was a kid. Obviously Macho Man and Sensational Sherry, those were together especially, but they were my favorites, and I think because they were so larger than life and different than any other human that I'd ever seen. And it was really, really cool. But I remember being on the couch as I'm like diving off with an elbow on my dad, going like, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. As you do. I mean, I was a child, but I do think that there is a lot of truths in those like dreams and those things, that wishes that we speak when we're children that we as adults don't follow through on, but again, I think it was the Attitude Era as I was falling in love with wrestling all over, and it was, Stone Cold and The Rock and these promos and, Stone Cold cursing out his boss and telling him where to go, and then all these other things. Like, it was those two especially, I want to say, their promo skills, and then all the DX and the Chynas and all these things. But that was because I've always been in love with the characters. I wasn't like, I enjoy the wrestling part of it. I enjoy the matches, but that's
like
not
the promos and kind of like the skits.
It was the characters and the promos and, not the phony, like skit kind of stuff, but like those real, when you have a microphone for 3 minutes and you have people eating out the palm of your hands the entire time, like how they would have them, like that is magic, right? Like, and so the ability to be able to do that is what really kind of, I think, sucked me in the most, and going like, I want to be able to do that and to be that good to be able to move an audience like that, and so yeah.
I know you're not a big gamer, obviously. That was the thing, but
we just got a switch. We just got a switch for the holiday Santa.
There you go.
Santa Claus brought it. And he brought it for this game that my son found on the internet on YouTube called Conduct Together. You guys probably have not heard of this game. It's a train game. It's very difficult, and I don't know how to play it, but that's the reason why we ended up buying it. And that game cost $1.99, and that is why we bought the Nintendo Switch.
RGT's a big Nintendo guy.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. I'm looking it up now.
He would know everything about Nintendo. But no, the reason I was going to bring it up, because I was like, you see yourself in the game. Like, how do you feel knowing that you're in a video game? Like, people can
so cool.
play as you.
Yeah, I remember I've played myself in the game before. We've had contests and we would do them. And I also always, because they would give you the games like in Xbox or PS, and they'd always say, Mickie, what do you got? And I go, I don't have anything. I mean, I went with television in my house for almost a year because I would go, I was like, I'm home 3 days a week. I don't want to watch television. Like, I'm literally home for 3 days. So I'm just weird like that. But so I don't have, but my nieces they had the PS, I think 3 at the time, PS4, whatever. They always got my games. So I would play with them, whatever game that we had. So I have terrible at them. I find that wrestling games are the most difficult game out of all the games to play. Like, I can play fighting games where it's just, you can hit the buttons and they kind of happen. Right. Or racing games, if I'm just like doing a joystick and maybe like an X and a B or whatever.
There you go.
That's kind of my skill level right there.
So the Pac-Man, basically.
What is this game that's downstairs? My husband, he's in it.
Retromania Wrestling?
We have that downstairs in the game room. The
arcade, the stand-up arcade. I actually have a cameo in that game too.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look. Do I have to download you, or what do I do?
No, if you do when you're choosing your arena, if you choose the too many games arena, I'm in the bottom left corner, like because it's based up like a video game convention, and you can see me, like I have like a little table and stuff, and I'm sitting down there.
Dope, bro. That's awesome.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
So you are in my game room downstairs that we play on. That's a fun game, actually. That whole system is great, and you can download other games, and it's kind of a throwback. That's my skill level right there. That's where I'm
Mickie,
at.
I got a question for you. You said you fell in love with the business because you'd watch the characters, right? And you fall in love with the guys cutting the promos. Well, we would have arguments all the time about, guys on the mic or girls on the mic. And it's like, I feel like they're too restricted nowadays, especially certain companies than, let's say, others. So, like, I just want to, like, what's your opinion on that? Like, like restricting, the character from saying, what they really want to say. Just look at The Rock. Like, he would have never got his, it just let them be themselves. And
I think that there was more creative freedom or like whatever. I think that it's a real difference in whether you believe what you're saying or you don't believe what you're saying. And I think that's more of what you're seeing is a lot of people that don't believe a word that they're saying, and they're literally saying the words that they've when you look at, and this is a testament because when you look at actors who are performing these movies, I don't believe that a lot of these actors believe all of these words that they're saying, but in those moments, they've also had months to dive into this character and to solely focus on the delivery of these lines.
The storyline.
And they've had 10,000 takes to get the perfect way and to cut all of these.
And they're not in front of thousands of people either on TV.
Live with the nerves and all the things and everything else. But, there is a little bit of truth to that because if you go back to like some of the greatest promos of all time, they were off the cuff, and those were those characters and the people that had the creative freedom to create those characters. Saying and doing what a Dusty Rhodes would say, what a Randy Savage would do and say, what a Ric Flair would do and say. These weren't like, I'm sure that they in their mind had their bullet points. And I always say, like, I have my bullet points. It's really hard to remember anything. I can try, but I know what I can, unless I'm going to have multiple takes to do it. Like, but as long as I have my bullet points and I know the things that I have to hit, I'll get there. And I have how much time I have to hit it. Like, I'll get there. It'll be great. But if I have to like remember these 20 lines of verbiage and I have all day to memorize it, like probably I'm going to go out there and there are going to be moments where looks like I don't know what I'm going to say, or like those moments of, those moments that we're talking about.
Do you think it's more pressure in general, having a scripted promo versus just going off of of just off your cuff?
I think if there's a promo that you like have, I think it's more pressure. There's also the side of it of like, well, if it's not a full scripted promo, what's to say that person, because they are nervous, doesn't go out there and start cursing or say something that could. I think that's more of the reasoning why. It's more of like, oh, well, we have to make sure that these other things don't happen because there's sponsorships and
TV ratings
and TV rate, and the other shareholders or whatever the case, other people that they have to answer to, but we don't even think about, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's difficult either way, but I certainly think that anyone trying to remember a bunch of lines that's more than 3 verbatim is probably going to be difficult to do on live television with a crowd yelling back at you and all of the things, because your natural instinct is to react off the reactions, right?
Right, when they're saying what every time you say something. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. RG, you have a question you want to ask her?
I mean, no, I really just wanted to ask her about that, the NWA Empower show, and thank you. We got that out of the way because that was just such a good show and groundbreaking, really.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I do got one thing. We see like a lot of like wrestlers' children's like start to become wrestlers as well. Like, Ray and Dominic, Charlotte Flair, and Ric Flair. Do you see your son gravitating towards wrestling? I know it's super early and stuff like that.
It is super early, and I remember seeing both of them backstage, and little Dominic when he was, and Ashley, but I just So if you would have asked me last year, I would have said absolutely not. No way. Not into it. He likes trains. He likes, cars. He's just not into wrestling at all. He doesn't watch it. Even though he's been on the road with me, pretty much a lot of his life. But I think because it's so normal for him and he's always seen it from the backstage that it's just like, oh yeah, it's whatever. It's only been in the last 6 months that he's more in this like, oh, I'm going to be a wrestler when I grow up, and once is actually showing any interest in it, which is kind of weird, right? Like I'm just like, oh, okay, cool.
I think Goldberg
I thought we had
said
talked
the
about
same
being
thing,
a
though.
train engineer or a rocket scientist. What is this?
So would you say you're keeping the option kind of open? Because I know how Goldberg kind of said he didn't want his son. I think he's on record for saying that. He didn't want his son to be a
I think we
wrestler.
say that because we know what the business entails, and we also know how
Stressful
difficult it is. However, he could tell me that he wants to be a zoologist or whatever he wants to be. And it's totally fine.
Your son has no idea how cool he is. Like he don't know yet, but
by the time he realizes how cool I am, I'm going to be not cool anymore.
I know, yeah.
Oh man, I seen the wear and tear. We see the Undertaker. God bless him for Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We see that guy.
God bless him.
There you go. Seriously, this is
I think Vince is inducting him actually.
Yeah. He himself is.
Wow.
They do that for makes sense too.
I think he's the first. Like that's the first time he's ever.
Was it Austin?
Yeah,
it was Austin.
I think it was. He rarely does it for other people.
Yeah.
I mean,
he stayed loyal, man. That guy stayed on one boat.
Yeah. He absolutely has. Mickie, what do you say about the Hall of Fame? I know we know what's happening eventually. What year do we think we're gonna see you in there?
I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I'd be hella honored. Obviously, I think it's a massive show of respect to your career and to your legacy and to all the things. But I also recognize there's a whole bunch of women that I love and respect, and I think that they deserve to go in there probably before me. So, we'll see.
Wow.
One day. You don't need to rush it.
There you go. To join the moment. I got you.
Yeah, just live it. Yeah.
Her chapter's not closed yet, though, so it wouldn't make sense anyway.
It's not.
I told you I've been stuck in this chapter for a while now. It's like the longest chapter ever.
A lot of bookmarks. Yeah.
A lot of folded pages.
Right. Exactly. Yep. You don't get a bookmark folded page. Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh man. How many titles can you see yourself with down the road? Like how many more titles do you think?
Well, at least 11 because I have to win my Knockouts championship back.
There you go.
That's true.
There you go.
I like a good double number, so that would work out for me. Was
Okay.
I don't know.
Blaze, you got a question you want to add, Mickie?
No, just I just can't believe I'm actually speaking. Like you don't understand. Like this thing's yeah. Like it's just when you grow up watching somebody, you know what I mean? It's just, and then like to actually speak to them is kind of like, wow, like they took the time out to actually speak. Like you're so humble for your stature. Like that's all. Like you're just a humble person. And I appreciate your time, really.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I think that has been the hardest thing to do, but also I'm so grateful, and I attribute that to my upbringing is like to stay humble because I didn't come from anything. Like not when I say that, but I came from very like middle class to low class America, and there was a lot of things that I had to overcome to even get to the level of success, and I'm very grateful for that. And I had a lot of family and my friends and real life things that have kept me grounded and kept me humble. And I think it's important.
It is, yeah.
There you go. See? There you guys go. Shows the passion right there. Mickie, let me tell you, man, this is incredible just to have you with us. It really is.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is my first time. I appreciate you guys like getting me on this Discord. I now have a profile here.
You did it. Don't give that out, though.
Yeah, do not give it out. Absolutely not.
It'll probably be hacked tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, if you see a weird message, ask for Nitro. Avoid it. Don't click that.
Yeah, don't
click those links. Don't click those links.
Don't click the Nitro links. Okay.
Yeah, don't click those. But hey, you want free Nitro?
I don't know what that is. Maybe.
Yeah.
What?
Our friend did it and he got hacked.
It's bad news. Yeah, that's
awesome.
A good question from the chat.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
We had a good question from the chat for you. It involves the titles. Do you keep the titles that you obviously are when you win them? Like, do you get like replicas, I guess, of them?
I am working on getting the WWE title, Women's Championship, I have a replica of. That's the only championship I have a replica of.
Oh, so you don't actually get them like when you win, like something to take home, and then like you get it on the road. No.
When you lose them, it's no longer yours.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share something that Nestor Amaya, I believe his name is, said in the chat. He said he's currently battling cancer. She's been an inspiration to keep fighting.
Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate that. God bless you. I want to say a little prayer for you.
Shout out to you, Nestor.
Yeah. Shout out to you, babe. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think that it worked like that. I thought as soon as you win it, the company would kind of hold it. But then I remember hearing a story of somebody losing their title. I forgot who it was. It was a wrestler. He lost his title, and like a fan had it and was going to put it on eBay or something.
It's happened a couple times, actually. I think it happened to Jericho with his AEW title.
Yeah, it got stolen.
Or like, oh, don't check your title because, somebody could steal it out of your luggage. And
oh man, what's the big difference between the
leave it like just sitting out on top of their bag or whatever in the locker room, and then somebody snags it and hangs it from the rafters or something,
Yeah. Now, how would you what's the difference between the replica version and the official? Is it just like the label?
The weight and the wear of the championship. Because now the replicas are so close to, like, they're really nice.
Yeah, they got those deluxe replicas.
But it's not the same as the real thing, right? Like, there's a weight difference. The leather bends differently because it's been worn and all the things. So, yeah. Weight, maybe.
Okay.
The grizzledness of it, the teeth marks, stuff like that.
Okay. I gotta ask this. What inspired GAW, Grown Ass Woman? I'm shocked to see this.
We were in the middle of the pandemic. Like, that was the same as, I think a lot of people started their podcasts in the middle of the pandemic, or everybody started a podcast in the middle of the pandemic, because I was home with my injury, and it was the first time I'd been really injured on the sidelines. I was bored out of my mind. I was going crazy. It was a show that I had talked to WWE about doing for the network, kind of similar, like a female The View of wrestling. But also, I had spoken to Val so many times about doing a show together, and Lisa separately, and we just kind of were like, hey, well, I'm home, actually, for the first time in a while, and why not? Let's just do it and see what it does, and if it's fun, great. And if we hate it, we don't have to keep doing it, because it's zero commitment and it's just us kind of doing it. And that's how it started. And now we're like 100 episodes in, I think, almost.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It goes by fast, though.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty. Okay.
What do you use to do your podcast? What program are you actually using?
We use Zoom, because it's usually just the three of us and separate. And then we use Zoom typically, and we've upgraded to the Pro one, but, and then, yeah, it's just easy because then we pre-record everything. So nothing is ever live, and we can kind of go back in and edit and clean and throw up like little things. And we're a 3-girl team over there, so it's and we're not technology savvy, so I don't know how to do like the underbars or like the whole all those like little extra bits where I'm like, Val, she did that stuff.
All right, okay. Let me see here. I got everything. Shoot, I'm all out of questions.
Big Cloud, you couldn't have used Zoom for Mickie. You gotta get her on a new. You could have.
I didn't know
Zoom
she was on.
Here
we go. I didn't know she was on Zoom. I just said when she was in the server, we were talking first time, because I didn't talk on the first time talking to her on here. I asked her, I was like, oh, okay, we're ready. She's like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. It's like,
Yeah, I'm in the chat
I was looking
room.
around because
I
I'm
don't
like,
know how to use this thing. Well, I think when she told me I was like, I don't know anything about gaming. Like, I don't know. She's like, no, it's about wrestling and stuff. And I go, oh, okay, well, all right then. I guess so. Why not? And she's
like, oh, she's right. She's like, Ryan, she's all set. She's ready. I'm like, okay, cool. Just
okay, great.
click this. Now I sit down.
I figured out how to work this thing.
She's like, Ryan, I don't know how to work this. I'm like, okay. I thought you know this. And she's like, oh no, that's Zoom. Like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Not the first time. Not the first time this happened.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate so much you having me on the show. I really do. Thank you so much.
Oh, this is fantastic. Mickie, seriously, thank you.
We're gonna see you. Are you guys coming to WrestleMania? Well, obviously we haven't announced it yet. Are you coming to WrestleCon? Are you gonna be in Dallas?
Probably not.
It's a no. That's a hard no across the board. It says.
I would love to, but just I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was gonna say we were gonna be in We're doing WrestleCon, the ladies and I, but we're also hosting WrestleMania this year, where it's like a charity auction with all the dresses. We did it last year, but this year we're doing it with Tag Me and United, and yeah, it's gonna be great. But we're also doing a live in-person champagne toast cocktail party there live from WrestleCon, and I was going to invite you all to join, but since you won't be there,
well, thank you.
You can virtually toast me.
There you
go. Is it gonna be on Fight TV?
It will not. It's just live it's after WrestleCon is over.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'd like a kosher maybe. That'd be fire if we could do kosher for it.
Well, thank you for your time, seriously.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This is awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mickie James, man, seriously, a legend. Thank you so much for joining us.
I don't have a championship right here.
Well, you're always champion. No, well, all we see is a champion. What are you talking about? We don't need a belt.
A champion in my own heart.
There you
That's
go.
all that
Mindset.
There you
Mindset.
Go.
That's
we
good.
always see the champion.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Take it easy.
Mickie. Bye-bye,
All
Mickie.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Mickie James, ladies and gentlemen. Mickie James. Good show, guys. Great questions all around. Shout out to everybody.
Yeah, she's mad cool, bro.
She is.
Awesome, bro.
Easygoing, easy to talk.
Super easygoing, like not, that's why I called. Like she's super humble. Like she's not like, what I mean, she stuck it out, man. She stuck it out like a regular. Well, hey, you gotta give it up, man.
Man, I could end the show right here, or we could talk about some stuff. What's up?
Want to talk about some goddamn video games, Big Clap?
Talk about video games. It's crazy.
Video games.
Bro, RGT, you're in a goddamn arcade the one-ups?
That's crazy.
It's the iArcade. They because that's what she was talking about, because you could download stuff on the iArcade. But yeah, there's a game. The game is actually on Steam, it's on Xbox, PS4, Switch. It's called Retromania Wrestling. And I was actually, because I had done the thing with Stevie Richards way back in the day. That's where the whole, oh my God, it's Stevie Richards thing came from. And the company was like, hey, we're putting this game on the Switch. Do you want to announce it as coming to the Switch, get the exclusive, and maybe do something with Stevie? And I was like, fuck yeah. So I did all that. And then they hit me up like a couple months into the development. They were like, hey, we're doing a Too Many Games arena. Do you want to have like a table there and people could throw, someone into the table and the ring will change to your logo? And I was like,
that's dope.
Yes.
Dude,
like,
come on, bro. What?
Yeah. So it's crazy, dude. It's awesome.
Jesus Christ. I gotta ask you, man, did you play 2K? Did you get that new one sent to you?
I haven't gotten it yet. I was going to, but then I got Gran Turismo 7 because I haven't played a Gran Turismo since like sport, and I didn't really get into that, but I'm really enjoying Gran Turismo 7. I know a lot of my friends are picking it up. They're like, hey, you get it yet? You get it yet? So I don't know. I might end up doing it.
I know we're all in on the AEW game. I know you're in.
Oh, yeah.
We're all in.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yuke's got me.
Look, I don't know what 2K did, but I'm telling you, like at least visually, this shit looks.
It does look better.
Yeah. It does, and it looks like it plays better too.
Yeah.
Saw the new they add new animations too, like for the finishers, like on the top of the cell, you could do Hell in a Cell, like choke slams. You could do the attitude adjustment, all that stuff off of power bombs. You could do all that too.
Bro, they missed Uke so bad, bro. They'll never admit it, but God.
You said a lot.
EA's talking
the wrestling.
It's going to be taking over, supposedly, wasn't that? What's going around?
Wait, which one?
God.
EA was thinking about taking over.
They might as well end it.
Whoa, wait. You talk about the rest? Oh, the WWE. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they were talking about doing it. I mean, personally,
did you play WCW Mayhem on the N64? Because that was the last wrestling game that EA did, and I mean, it wasn't. Well, no, technically, the last game that there was the Backstage Assault game, which had no wrestling ring. You wrestled in back rooms. It was on the N64, and it was a mess, dude. I mean, I don't know. I don't have much faith in EA.
Dude, EA just destroys everything they touch. Honestly, they really.
It might even make it even worse.
Bro, they probably would. After seeing what they did with UFC, I can only imagine what they're gonna do to WWE when they get their hands on.
I just like the older games, even like just the youth titles that were worked on. It's just like you saw a lot of effort put into a lot of the storylines, even like you creating a character, and you have all these other different storylines within the calendar. If you're in Raw or SmackDown, it was like super cool to see. And
I know people say here comes the pain and shit, but bro, it's fucking no mercy for me. It's fucking
$1,000,000. Like I love those games, but give me an N64. You can give me damn World Tour, and I'll still have a blast playing it. Like
me too.
Those are just top notch.
It was so ahead of its time, bro. Remember, like they would bleed. They would go like.
Yeah,
that was lit, bro.
Mostly growing up as a kid, like I wasn't buying games on day one because, I mean, I couldn't. I was at my parents' like disposal, and they were like, "No, you're not getting a game. You haven't done anything." Yeah, but like when Revenge was starting to be advertised, I remember I had to like make a pact with the devil. I was like, "I will clean the house. I will clean your cars. I will clean your showers out. I don't care. I need to get this game." And when I got Revenge, dude, it was like every night everyone would come over to my house and we would just sit in my room on my little 13-inch TV, just like, yes, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, insane, dude.
Oh my god. Oh, they nailed the Inquisition in this new version as well. They nailed it, so to speak. I'm not really a fan of the. They got this new mechanic RGT where like you can like so like when Braun had Big Show on his shoulders, he slammed him through the cage and it broke the cage. They tried to add this mechanic on the outside of the cage where you can like knock them through the Hell in a Cell type of thing. It looks kind of some finishers it looks okay, like it works. Others it looks kind of off. You know what I mean? Because the way the camera and the way they looks kind of off. But I don't know.
At least they tried.
I know you got this shit, bro. You got this in the box and everything, huh?
That's good.
I don't think I have a box copy.
Oh
wow! I got some.
RGT, you're gonna have to buy it off him.
I might have to get it now because I do have money just sitting.
Bro, look at this smell! Oh my god! It just smells like just a dirty asshole, but it's just so great.
I mean, dude. I had the strategy guide and shit. Like I would just sit there and I would bring it to school with me and just like read it. Because like back in those days, wrestling was cool. That was when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Everyone, like we literally at our middle school, like everyone watched wrestling. So like half of us were like NWO black and white, half of us were NWO black and red, and like we would treat it like, okay, look at this dude coming down the hall. Oh, there's three of us that are black and red. No, like seriously, like I remember like pushing a kid down the stairs and stuff. I got beat up on the soccer field once. Like it was real shit.
Bro,
it was
I was Wolfpack, bro. Like,
so was I.
Dude, that shit, we used to jump people in the hallways. That's a fucking fact, bro. I don't care. Shit was so NWO, bro. That shit was so awesome.
Elementary. I just did that in the playground and stuff like that. We would have like these like little like top level areas where we could jump and like pretend to freaking do a diving elbow.
Bro, middle school, like the transition into different classes, like you were gonna catch it if you were like we seen you alone, like you were getting jumped. That's it.
I remember this is a terrible story, and I actually have to go after I tell this story. I remember because I was a big wrestling fan. I'd watch it all the time. I remember I was 9 or 10. I was pretty young, and there was this kid. We lived in an apartment. It was like one of those where there's like 4. There's like 2 doors upstairs, 2 doors downstairs, and we lived upstairs. And downstairs there was this kid who was like 7 or 8. He was like a year or 2 older than me, but he was kind of a bigger kid.
Yeah.
And like we would play around and wrestle in his room. And I remember one time, like, I got him in like a sleeper hold, and like I don't know what happened, but like something went off in my head. I started just like as hard as I could, and then all of a sudden like his chin just kind of like went down into my arm, and I was like, huh? And so I let go, and he just collapsed, and he had like a little blood coming out of his nose. I'm like, oh my god, I killed this kid. Oh my god, oh my god. So I remember I picked him up and put him on his bed, and just was like, I have to go. I think my mom is calling me. And I ran out of the house, and I ran upstairs, and I just hid in my room, and like evidently he came to, and he was like fine, but that kid was out, dude. He was out.
Oh my god!
I was so scared when I saw that blood coming out. I'll never forget that.
He killed him.
Oh my god, he's dead. What did I do,
dude? I would have been so scared, dude.
Let me get your quick thoughts on this when we shut this down. We got possibly the best WrestleMania show that we could think of right now with Revolution. I think we all can agree that's one of the best pay-per-views.
Revolution was great.
Dude, that was insane. Insane.
Let me ask you, man, did they top the pay-per-view with the Bucks and the Lucha Bros? Did they top it?
That's tough to say, dude.
I would say it's definitely tied.
It's tied?
Okay. It's definitely tied. It just depends on what is memorable for you. Because I remember watching that pay-per-view. I was actually, for some reason, I was staying at my grandparents' house. And I had my laptop, and I was watching it on my laptop, and they were like, oh, what are you watching? I was like, oh, I'm watching this wrestling pay-per-view. They're like, oh, put it on the TV. I was like, are you sure? The grandma was like, yeah. And so when I put it on the TV, it was the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers match, and her and my grandpa were just sitting there like, why does this guy have a mask on? Why is he going off the top of the cage? Why is he bleeding? What the hell's going on here? And that was just very funny. But then watching Revolution and seeing Sting do that dive, like, that wasn't the best match of the night. I saw your tweet.
I was like, bro, this man is like 60 doing spots like this. I'm like,
this is insane, because I've always been a huge Sting fan. But, I mean, just top to bottom, it was a great show. Both of them. I mean, that's the one thing, is that first when AEW started, I was like, I really like it, but I don't know if I want to get this pay-per-view. Like, I haven't paid for a pay-per-view in forever. And now it's like, you're only charging me $50 for this shit? I should be giving you like $100. Thank you so much.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's absolutely true.
What I want from AEW is they need to do a streaming app, just because, like,
they're working on it.
I know Big Cloud and me, we cut cable. Like, we just do the streaming platforms like Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max.
You and Big Cloud, how about the whole fucking world? What are you talking about?
All I'm saying is, like, bro, they need to have a stream, because I would pay for it.
No, bro, speaking of the Knicks, how's 12th place going for you, buddy?
3 in a row. We won 3 in a row. We're coming back. We're going to get in the play-in. We're going to play the Nets in the first round of the play-in. We're going to beat them because they won't have Kyrie, and it's going to be the biggest
I don't know about that, dude. I hope they do. I fuck with the Knicks. I'm a Celtics guy, but I fuck with the Knicks.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tatum's been freaking killing it.
Bro, killing it. Yep.
Oh, man.
Yeah, good show, bit. That was good.
Yeah,
it was fun.
This was great.
It was really good.
Guys, I know it wasn't game related. You guys come to us for game related for Fridays, but this one we wanted to mix it up. And we're all diehard wrestling fans here on this panel. I know RGT is a huge one, and he had something happening. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can work some magic, see if I get to something similar like that, and we'll get him back. I mean, I'll tell you what now. Any wrestling guests, we're gonna have RGT85 on if he would be down to join us.
Oh yeah,
Big Shot won't give me. Hey, RGT, he won't give me the credit for this. But when he was talking about Mickie James, I'm like, bro, there's only one person you need to get for this show. You know that, right? He won't give me credit for it. He will act like he don't remember, but he knows what's up.
Oh,
bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Really. When was this? When did I say it? When was it?
Yeah, exactly. You forgot. Just like
Yeah, you lied a second.
Hey, are you vaping? What's up? Is that a vape pen or is that a weed pen?
No, it's a vape pen, because I was at the gas station, and my girl was over here the other night, and she went home. She's like, I smell like smoke. I don't want to smell like smoke. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. I was like, all right, well, I'll buy it and I'll use it when you're around, and then I'll do my cigarettes.
Smart.
But it's actually not bad. Like, I actually like it. It tastes
menthol?
good. Yeah, menthol. It was like $10, and I ordered a Juul thing offline because they gave me 50% off because it was my first order. I was like, hell yeah. But I just saw this at the gas station when I was getting smokes, and I was like, $10. I'll try it out. It's good, man. I like it.
Bro, the Juul mint, that shit's addicting, no pun intended. Like, it really is.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
I got that coming in.
Well, guys, seriously, we kept this strictly wrestling here. We talked about 2K, obviously, it's a game, and it's wrestling. But It was an awesome show. We had Mickie James on, fantastic to talk to her. Some of you guys in the chat were hilarious. I saw the chat. I was like, okay, let me. I kept going back and forth, but now it's shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show. Everybody who came through. I know a lot of people is not big on wrestling, but we are. RGT. Hey, listen, man. You answered the call with the quickness. I already knew you were down for this, but
always ready,
man. Seriously, man, they should jump in on the show as well.
Oh, dude, thanks for having me on. This is awesome.
Oh, you already know. Anytime, man. Definitely have you on more for sure. Especially for game related. You know, Mr. Nintendo, since a lot of people said we hate Nintendo.
Oh man,
so we gotta have somebody who represents Nintendo. So we'll definitely have you on more for sure. Guys, let's do our outros, man. I'm gonna start with you, RGT. I know you said you had to go, so let you on and get on out of here. Where can the people find you? Of course,
you can find me on RGT85 across all forms of social media. I actually have an interesting video. I bought something that was very expensive, but I had like a store credit, so it didn't cost me much. But it's a really rare Game Boy Advance system, new in box. It's actually the e-reader bundle. That the e-reader is still sealed on it. Wow. So I'm going to open that up. We're going to play around with it.
Dude, don't fucking open it, bro. You can't open it.
I have to. I want to play it.
You cannot open that shit, bro. Fuck the video, dude.
But the video will make good money.
It will.
Dude, I got shit that's boxed that's not, like, I got N64 shit that I'm not opening. Like, it's staying sealed.
See, I got some other stuff back. I got a Game Boy Pocket and a Sega Saturn boxed, and they're not new, but like
I saw they were new. Like, wait, what?
No, the Game Boy, the e-reader is completely new. It's still in the plastic wrap and everything. Plus, it'll make people mad that I opened it, and then the conversation will get
They'll get triggered as fuck. Yeah, they'll get triggered, bro.
Oh no, Jesus Christ, man! Seriously,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you said you're gonna open it, I'm like, oh,
you're good.
Yeah.
Man.
RGT85, all forms of the internet, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and yeah, thank you for having me on, dude. This was awesome.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Red Hood, people find you.
Yeah, before I say that, dude, everyone give a like to this video. Big Cod's doing a lot for the channel in terms of the podcast episodes. Give this man a lot of credit because having a guest like that on takes a lot of work being put into it, and the way he's just handling everything is really, really good. And having RGT as well. RGT really, like, that. You're a huge YouTube channel compared to like me and stuff like that. And like, you're a great guest in terms of your wrestling mind and stuff like that. And Blaze doing great things for Solid Castle was a really fucking good episode.
It's their right.
Yeah, so
the funny thing is, I remember we had this conversation before, RGT. Remember about a wrestling show podcast type of recap thing. And I was like, you know what? When we had her on, I was sitting going, damn, that just sparked my mind. Like, yo, dude, I remember talking to RGT about that. I was like, I gotta get RGT on this. We gotta.
No, RGT is like a dude like that I grew up with, bro. Like a dude around like that. Just I'm telling you, that's why I asked him, bro. You lived in Boston. Tell me you lived around here. Like, no, I didn't. I'm like, what?
For like 2 months, I did when I was a little kid. We lived. And the only thing I remember was we lived in, it was like a brownstone, but it was an underground apartment.
Yeah.
And me and my mom were taking an elevator down to the subway, and there was a homeless guy in front of us, and he fell. And so my mom had me in her arms, and she was trying to like run up the ladder, and she was like, or the escalator. She's like, stop the escalator, stop the escalator. Like nobody stopped. So we had to just ride it down. And like, he was like stuck. His jacket was stuck in the bottom of the elevator. And I just remember looking down when we were having to walk over, and my mom was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he just looked up and he's like, Jesus Christ. And that's like burned in my head forever. Like it was, I know it's a terrible story, but yeah.
Oh man. That's funny shit, bro.
Oh, Blaze. Tell where they can find you, man. I know you made your third playthrough now on Elden Ring. This time you're on the PS5. So
am I gonna have 300 hours?
Dude,
yeah, man. I'm just enjoying playing that game. That's my type of game. But yeah, it was a good show as always. Well, yeah, game of the year for sure, bro. None's gonna unless God. No, I don't know.
Let's keep it real. You're gonna be like Elden Ring over God of War.
Yeah, but my Sony.
Yeah, you see, yeah.
My Sony side's gonna come out. You know what I mean? RGT knows what's up. He knows PlayStation's running the game right now. He knows what's up.
I mean, Horizon, Elden Ring, and Gran Turismo 7 all within a couple weeks of each other. That's
crazy.
Yeah. Hard time to really digest.
But yeah, thank you for your time, RGT. Big Cloud, you already know. Keep on with the guests. Fuck it. You know, like I said, I seen the numbers were fluctuating because we're not talking about fucking Xbox versus PlayStation, you know, for a fucking change. But, you know, hey, keep doing your shit, bro. That shit's crazy. I'll get more guests like that. That's definitely dope, and it's refreshing, bro.
You gave me shit for a certain guest we had on last night because I broke. You were just in another realm.
Bro, it's Mickie J. Bro, I don't want to say certain things on air, but it's, you know, I've seen things, okay? I've seen some things.
He said something I was going to say. He's like, you age like a fire wild. I'm like, I see you, Blaze. I see you.
No, she looks good, bro.
She does.
She looks really good for her age. Real. But yeah, good show, man.
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the chat. See you guys next week. And you guys be blessed. Y'all be easy. RGT85. Make sure you guys subscribe to the dude. Awesome dude. Maybe you can get his address from me so I can steal some of those box consoles.
Boxes? That might be worth a lot.
Anyway, y'all be good, man. We appreciate y'all. And y'all have the rest of your weekend. Y'all be good.